toy collector friends and fans of magical bits and pieces alike. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, and I'm just hopping on just to do a really short video. This is a very short video, and it will be a very short video, but I'm just going to sort of showcase 4 tricks. And the reason I'm doing this is because I have recently done quite a few sort of prop and magical prop video type things, but most of them have been quite sort of display piece based, you know, with like things like the artifact, or you've seen like the noble virtues. There's usually quite a hefty prop or some good prop work that's involved to support the illusion or the theatricality of the illusion. And usually that can be sort of a bit hefty. Again, whether it's cards or whatever it is, that's usually there's quite a bit involved sometimes. But just from some sort of backwards and forwards with some other people online, I just sort of wanted to point out that there are a lot of magical retailers, some of them very small, some of them family orientated. I mean, Alakazam is small but growing, it's family orientated, but I just wanted to highlight one today called That's Cool. I think it's called Cool Magic, actually. I'm pretty sure, yeah. Cool Magic is what they're called, but it's www.thatscool.co.uk, and they produce an awful lot of, this sounds derogatory, but quite cheap, quite inexpensive magical tricks, and it ranges from quite inexpensive to to far more expensive. But the price is usually dictated by what you get and the volume and quality of what you get. But the reason I'm drawing your attention to this little company is because I've picked up, as part of my A set, my spooky set, I've picked up quite a few little bits and pieces from them, from very low amounts of money, and they're very, very simple tricks to do. Some of them require a tiny bit of memory work, but otherwise they're really, really very, very good. So I just thought, well, I've just spent this is on eBay, this is on their eBay shop. I've spent about, I think it was £26, and I got 4 illusions of varying degrees of prop quantity and quality. I say quality loosely because it's not necessarily about the quality of the prop, it's about what you get. So I think it was £26 all in, got me these 4 very different tricks. There is some overlap with some of them. So I've got Psychic Detective here, which I'll show you in a second. The Coin of Lucifer, which I'll start to show you in a second. This one is called Perfectly Predicted, and this one is called, very up my street, The Restless Spirit Revisited. And essentially, this is kind of close-up, small-scale parlor type stuff. So Psychic Detective and the Coin of Lucifer are 2 separate entities. However, they work utilising a very similar principle of mentalism. So they're linked through mentalism. So basically what you get here with Psychic Detective, very straightforward. You get this envelope, and you get a series of truth teller, liar, truth teller, liar, truth teller, liar cards. That's what you get. And then you scan the QR code to access the PDF, which will tell you how to do the trick. And the trick is essentially turning you, the magician, into a psychic detective. You have 6 assistants from the audience. So this is one that does require a few people to be around. So if you've got 6 people around, you can do this. You cannot be one of the 6. And essentially, one of them steals an item. They are the thief in the scenario, and you are able to divine who it is that is the thief. And basically you ask a couple of questions. Some of them commit to being truth tellers because they've been told that's what they have to be. Others commit to being liars, and that's what they have to be. So every time you ask a question, they have to say they're the truth, and they have to say a lie. They can't swap midway along. That's who they commit to be, irrespective of whether they've stolen the thing. So they may be a liar and they haven't stolen the thing, but they always have to lie when you ask them a question. And the same way that if they are the thief, they have to tell the truth every time. Okay? Don't worry. It does work, and it's quite fun. Now, the advice of the instructions is use your watch or a wallet or something like that. Hold that thought, because I would say you don't need to do that, because if you pick up the Coin of Lucifer, now the Coin of Lucifer, you get this. This is all you get. This coin, which is a yes/no coin. It's very nicely detailed. It's quite weighty, you know, it's quite substantial, very inexpensive, but you're getting a very, very nicely crafted, very detailed coin. yes, no. So you can use it for multiple illusions. And the design of this is similar principle. 1, 2, or 3 spectators steal the coin using a yes, no, and they must tell the truth or they must lie, but either way they've got to commit to it at the beginning. Principle, you guess not only who's taken the coin but also where they've hidden it about their person. So very good. Now for me, these two combine. So this is what they steal. They steal this. You then utilize this trick in order to whittle it down to the guilty person, and then you utilize the elements of the instructions on this trick to work out where upon their person they're hiding the coin. So it's arguably one illusion, but it's made of 2 component parts, but by blending them you've got a single trick, but it's enhanced by the quality of both. Plus it means you're not actually risking your wallet or your watch, because that would be awful. So I love these two. Very simple, very straightforward, not expensive. Next up is this one. This is perfectly predicted. This is a kind of spooky. I love the black envelopes that you get. So what you have is this black envelope in which is written I'm not going to turn it around, but there is on the back of this, well, I'll obscure it slightly. So there is writing on the back. But what that is a prediction. Okay, that is a prediction for what the outcome of this little experiment will be. Okay, now what you then get in this envelope, I do love the little brown envelopes, is a set of 5 cards. And they're very different, but they are spooky cards with some wonderful skeletal designs. Okay, and they're all up in different ways up, and that's marvellous. So the Queen, the 5, the Joker, the King, and the 9. Okay, and they're really lovely. The artwork on these is really, really lovely. It's really lovely. So you get those. I'm just going to pop them back in here for now because I'm not going to show you the illusion. You also get this, which is just lovely. I was going to say it's to die for, but I won't say that. So it's a little skull. It's a little skull, and you're going to use that as the marker. So essentially with this one, again, very straightforward, very simple premise. Your spectator will, whilst you turn your back on them, they will place the marker on one of the cards, which will be laid out face down. They then, due to where they've placed it, based entirely free choice, they then have to move it a certain number of counts based on where they've placed it, which is entirely free choice. You will then essentially determine a couple of cards to delete from the lineup, which will leave you with 3. They then have to select another card randomly, which they then return to the envelope, seal the envelope up. You then turn, when they've done that, you then turn to face them and say, right, okay, you've all done all of that, basically based on your own choices and actions. We're left with 2 cards, pick one for themselves, they pick one for themselves, and then they also push the other one to you. You line them up. You then say, okay, let's check what the prediction was. You go through the prediction together, and it has accurately predicted the card that you, the magician, have, they, the spectator, has, and the card that they themselves elected to put back in there. No tampering, no forces of such, nothing. Very clever, very neatly done, and it's very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. And of course, as you can see, it's very nice. The props are very nice. The last one we've got here is Spirits Revisited. Another black envelope. Love it. Again, this is another one of those that really keys into my aesthetic around spooky magic. And actually, I have done some. They come with a white backdrop, just white cards. I did some aging and some stuff on them just because I wanted them to look a little bit more rusticy and old. It comes with an old 1 penny from, I think, 1901. I'm leaving it in there for now because that is not going to matter too much. It comes with this picture of an old institute with some information about it there. I've done the same to that. I've sort of aged it up a little bit. Very straightforward how to do that. So you get these 2 component parts, and you also get a series of cards that essentially are photos of psychics that pretty much were, narratively, the psychics were all kind of put into the asylum, the institute here for government studies, to check how good their psychic abilities were. And you can see what I've done, all the same to all of the backs there, that they're all very aged. And then essentially what happens is you connect this. Well, this is how I've chosen to do it. It's a variation. The spectator of choice, victim if you like, holds the coin, because the coin is said to have been found next to the body of one of these people who had been brutally murdered. And the idea is we're going to try and use the psychic ability of your spectator to determine who it was that was killed and find out who killed them, and ideally why. And so they place this is how I get them to do it. They place their hand on the top of the pile, pressing against the old picture of the institute, whilst holding the coin tightly in their hands, because the coin connects them directly to the murder victim. And they have to give us a number between 1 and 7. Okay. I'm not going to perform the full thing for you, because to do so would be potentially exclude. And also, I don't have somebody to choose the number. But essentially, you then work through. So let's. Yeah, I can't. If I work it through, you'll just. I can't sort of pretend they've said, because of how it works. So, but trust me when I say, you then work through, and based on you could say it's like spiritual numerology, whatever you want to do, you then eliminate all but one of the people here, all but one. And the one that is left is revealed to be the murder victim, who killed them, and sort of the reason why they killed them. And you can do it all using just the numerology element, because it's designed to allow you to do that. You can also choose to, and this is something that I haven't decided which version I like yet, but you can also go down a slight equivoque kind of ending. And there's an extra reason for why I'm trialing this, where you actually end up with, let's say you end up with 2. You might end up with Audrey and Ursula. Having had all of these discounted. You've discounted all of those, and you're left with Audrey and Ursula. And so rather than going down to the last one, you go down to the last 2, and you say, right, place your hands over these 2 and see which one you get a feeling about, which one is blah, blah. And if they select one, then it's okay, that's fine. You've been repelled from the other one, or you've been drawn to this one, which means you can then discard whichever one needs to be discarded, leaving you with 1. So it looks like the last one, again, was their choice. And the last one is then revealed to be the person who was murdered. And the reason I like that potential way of doing it is because there's an additional kicker built in to these. And so by having 2 left behind, you could arguably take your time to just rearrange these, or lay them the right way up, to say, well, these are all the ones that has been discarded so far. You've been left with, and you can put them in a certain order, which will have an impact. Trust me. And you're left with these 2, and so blah, 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 and then they discard the one, and you're left with whichever one you're left with. And you do the revelation that they've managed to psychically, through the numbers they've chosen and through the power of that, they've done it. But then also there was a clue hiding in plain sight the whole time as to who the killer, who the victim was. And because you've taken the moment whilst they're doing the equivoque bit to arrange them out, you're hiding the answer in plain sight for them. They then have the revelation, boom, 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 and then you go, and actually, if I draw your attention to these photos, blah, 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 extra kicker. So actually, very self-contained. It absolutely does all the work for you. You just need to remember, a couple of, there's one sequence piece of prep planning that you have to do, but there's nothing particularly difficult about the execution. And again, like with all of this, it's in the performance. These two are a little bit more serious-ish. These you can just have fun with, particularly if you like to get people up and get them involved. But folks, you've seen the quality of these now. All 4 of these I got for less than £30. It was £26 something, I think, and that included postage. And because I bought all 4 at once, the postage was reduced. And that is www.thatscool.co.uk. Well, that-cool.co.uk. But if you go on their eBay shop and look for Cool Magic, you'll be able to find them. This is a tiny sample of what they've got. And they always have some lovely new stuff there. And it really is inexpensive. And you just look at it and you go, that looks like a really interesting trick. That looks like something that would be really easy to put in my pocket. I mean, everything here is transportable. It just is. But I just wanted to drop on and show you these because I think there's quite a bit of weighting and emphasis on the latest big tricks, the big sellers at Blackpool Magic conventions and things like that, and the big releases. And Magic is getting an awful lot. I don't know if you've noticed this, but on YouTube, at least, Magic is getting an awful lot of new traction. I don't know if we've entered a new age where people are discovering this entertainment medium as if for the first time and going, wow, look at this, and I can get involved in this. This is really fun. It is really fun, and it builds a lot of confidence and a lot of other skills. So I heartily recommend it, even if you're a hobbyist, or particularly if you're a hobbyist. Don't just collect it for the props. Collect it for the doing. Learn how to do it, and do it for friends, for family, work colleagues. Christmas dinner, Christmas work dues, or other work dues, people's leaving dues. Just have 2 or 3 things that you can just sort of pop out and it's a game changer. It's a game changer, but inexpensive. And again, as I say, there's a lot of emphasis on these big hitters. Some of them very expensive, some of them not so expensive. But for a couple of quid, 2 or 3 quid, you can get something that's really effective and a lot of fun. And again, these will be really engaging. And and the prop quality is now. Yes, I've chosen to do some stuff with this to make it look a bit more aged. I didn't have to do that. And certainly you don't have to do anything with anything else. I mean, this is how this comes. It's perfect, And as I say, it's got yes, no options on it. There's lots of other things on there. You could easily integrate this into, if you're, a bit of a creator of routines, etc. I'm sure you can find another use for it. As I say, it took me I didn't buy these knowing that they were going to work together at all. But it was, as I was reading the instructions for this one, and then I'd read the instructions for this one, I read this one first, I was like, well, it's almost the same illusion, because it follows a similar principle of mentalism deduction, if you like, and traps the participants through wordplay into giving themselves away, really, but only noticeable to you. But because they were similar, and this was about psychic detective, they have to have stolen something. Well, actually, why not have them steal this? Then we can solve who it is, have the fun with the 6 other participants, get down to the single thief, and then perform the final element, which is just what you need the coin for completely. So, the 2 things work together beautifully. It's very easy. It's very easy to come up with some very basic routines. I'm not going to say it's always easy to come up with routines, especially when you need to sort of think, I've got to do 45 minutes. It has to be cohesive. It's got to be coherent. It's got to make sense. And it's got to be almost like a journey. I mean, you don't have to do it like a journey. You can literally do a series of tricks. But I like to have a bit of a narrative story with mine. That's why I like things like this. Because it allows me to do a bit of world building. It allows me to do same for this to an extent. Although this is just, again, more mentalism. This is just predictions and mentalism. But it's very good, very effective. I mean, the people watching this will go, I have no idea how you could have done that. Because it isn't just one prediction, it's 3 predictions. Well, technically it's 6 predictions, if you think about it, because you've got 6 predictions in terms of it's predicted who's going to have what. So that's 3 locations and 3 accurate card predictions. So technically 6 predictions. all made in advance, all delivered on by the spectator, who is making constantly random choices. So there's no gimmicked cards, there's no gimmicked envelopes, there's no gimmicked anything. Everything is inspectable and is exactly what it is. Everything in this is inspectable. In fact, everything you see here is inspectable. There's no actual gimmicks involved in any of this at all. It's all, these are the items that you will have to present your story and your trick. Everything else is down to misdirection and your presentation. So there's nothing here that couldn't be examined by participants. The only thing I would say is when, because of the way the revelation of the Restless Spirit Revisited is revealed, because it's written on the back of one of the cards, or it appears on the back of one of the cards, they can't see the backs of the cards properly or fully until the end of the trick. Then they can handle them completely. But you have to conceal that from at the beginning. So like you saw when I fanned them out for you, I fanned them out. You didn't see anything on the back of any of them apart from the aging that I'd done. But there is a reveal. It's just masked by the way you found the cards out. But of course, anyone looking at them one at a time would find it straight away. So you have to avoid that happening. But that's easy. You just avoid it. There's no reason for them to touch them up until the point you let them. So it's, again, they are fully inspectable post-trick. But it's not that they're gimmicked in any way other than the revelations on the back of one of them. But that's like, in many ways, it's like saying, well, there's a prediction written in there, but don't read it at the beginning because that's the finale, you know. So I love these. They're very, very straightforward, very, very simple, and very cost effective. So if you are looking to get into some kind of magic, and this is where this stemmed from, because just from a few conversations saying, you know, I used to do it as a kid, or I used to have some as a kid, and I always loved it, didn't do it. It really helped my confidence as a kid, but I've moved away from it, and now I feel silly getting them. It's, you know, don't feel silly. Get them at home, mess with them, look through what they've got. That's cool.co.uk. They've got tons of stuff. I'm not sponsored. This is not a sponsorship deal. And as I say, there are loads of providers, small providers. Just go on places like eBay and Amazon and just look for magic tricks, and you'll find tons. And some of them are very inexpensive. Do watch out for quality. Sometimes quality can vary significantly, but I would say the quality that I've experienced here, top notch. And I've also left reviews on their products, because they also give really good customer service. Really good customer service. Not these four, but something that I picked up a little while ago. There was something I didn't understand in the instructions. And I read it and I reread it, and I could not understand what it wanted me to do. So I just dropped them an email. They ask you to do this. They're very open about being approachable. I sent me saying, look, I'm reading it this way. I'm doing this thing that you asked me to do, and I'm getting myself in knots. Not literally, it wasn't a rope trick. And within a day, they came back and said, "Oh yes, you're reading it correctly, but it's this." So I wasn't wrong, but I was reading it. They were very generous, saying I was reading it correctly, because evidently I wasn't reading it correctly. But they explained it differently, and of course immediately I'm like, of course I see what you're saying. Yes. And I had a similar moment today, funnily enough, when I was just working through the logic of this one, just to make sure I understood it completely. And I had a little sort of moment where I was going, that doesn't make sense though, because you've got three liars. And then I realised why it did make perfect sense, but I didn't need to email them about that. I just had to give my brain a minute to catch up to the speed I was trying to do the trick. And I went, oh yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. And it is very straightforward and very simple. You just have to remember two key questions. Everything you need is provided in the instructions. Folks, I really think this is a great company to get inexpensive but very good quality props and tricks from. They're definitely one of my saved sellers on eBay. So again, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, check them out. but do shop about, because there is stuff that's not expensive that you can do really easily. You can practice it at home in front of a mirror, or not even sometimes in front of a mirror. Do it in front of your phone camera, and then you can watch it back. That's not a bad idea, is it? Try that. But you know what? Give it a go. It's inexpensive. Don't get hooked on it and start buying 300, 600 pound props for stage magic and go, but it just looked really good. And I say that because there's a few things I've looked at and I've gone, that's really expensive, but I really like it and I really like the look of it. I haven't bought these things, but I do stare at them going, but I could just, and it would look great on a shelf. And then I go, what shelf? What shelf have I got space for something like that? So I'm quite self-controlled on that front, but I rest my case around the whole, you know, it's very easy to get addicted to these things, especially if you find that you then have an affinity for doing it. These super fun, and at the end of the day, that's what it has to be. It has to be super fun. You should enjoy doing it, but also it's about the entertainment value you bring to the people who are watching it. So with that in mind, I'm going to thank you for watching this. I have been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. This has been 4 random tricks that I've picked up from that'scool.co.uk or Cool Magic. And I urge you to check it out. If you've got any queries or questions about any of these particularly, or any magic-y things, as I say, I'm not a magic professional by any stretch of the imagination. I'm a hobbyist who did some of this stuff as a kid. I used to have Paul Daniels magic tricks as a kid, so the little toy magic tricks, hence my connection on this channel to this. And latterly found most of them, pretty much all of the ones that I had, I still have, and was in shock when I found them, considering that they are over 40 years old. And they're all in their boxes and they're all intact. Some of the boxes are a bit worse to wear, but so it sort of reignited something in me, and I have subsequently gone into doing some of this, and I've done a few little sort of mini shows, but very much from the hobbyist perspective. Not, I wouldn't be going out selling my skills at all. But I am quite happy to keep adding to my little collection, and of course these don't take up much space. These don't take up much space at all, and they fit in the pocket, or if you're like me, you've now got some sort of magician's briefcase or carry case for tricks. Brilliant. You can store these in. They don't take any space at all, so they're very easy to have around the place and just have on hand. And you know what, if you're going through it there's a lot here. There's easily, if you work these routines well, you've probably got about half an hour, because you've got 6 people up for this one. That probably take you about between 5 and 7 minutes. Then you build in the final routine with this for the solo person. That'll take 10 minutes. Each of these could take 10 minutes if you pad it out. Maybe not quite. Maybe this one not so much 10 minutes, but again with patter, changeover, gasps of amazement, etc. It 20 to 30 minutes worth of stuff here in one go. And that could be a routine in itself, couldn't it? And then maybe end with this one because it's kind of spooky, and gets them thinking. So yeah, maybe kick off with this one, do some mind reading, end with that one. That's what I'd probably do if you were asking, and you're not, but if you were, that's what I'd probably do. Anyway, thanks again. Triple TC here, Time Travelling Toy Collector. I look forward to seeing you in a future video. I haven't mentioned it because I was going to try and be good, but I will mention it because you've stayed till this point. If you could like and subscribe, it would make the world of difference to me and the channel. And I very much look forward to seeing you in a future video. Just remains for me to say that things of beauty really are magical toys forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.